What's poppin', my fellow homesickles? It is me, Alex, back at it again with another speed art. This time, you already know, because you read the title. I'm drawing tiny little creature thingies in real life, kind of. I'm not trying to make them realistic. I'm just putting them in a real life setting. So it's like, I'm not. You know what I mean. You saw the pictures in the thumbnail. You know what I'm talking about. Well, anyways, if you've been to my channel before and you've seen my other speed arts, you might notice that this one is just a tad bit different. There's something fishy about this one, but I bet you just can't put your finger on it. Here, I'll help you out. I have a background now. I know you couldn't tell until I told you. It's a huge, it's a tiny little detail that you definitely missed, and I had to tell you. Well, anyways, I guess I should probably talk about this worm guy before I finish drawing him, because I'm going so fast. But it's basically a mix of a worm and a hedgehog. And now I know what you're thinking. If it's just a worm and a hedgehog, then why does it have a big old puff of fur on its chest? Well, I'll explain that later, but for now, all you gotta know. That's a worm hog, or hedge worm. One of those two. You can decide. I don't care. So usually when I do a drawing, I try to experiment with something different, as if doing it with the real background wasn't different enough. So as you can see with this worm, I gave him colored lines instead of black lines to try and make him blend more with the background. I think it looks good. I probably should have kept the black ones, but whatever, here it is. Alright, time for the second one. So this second creature, the picture I put him on, I really like that picture. I put him on top of a little stump because I was walking down like this greenway thing, and I was just looking around trying to find anything that like a little creature could just sit on or whatever. And I was just taking pictures of like branches or just like random patches of grass that looked like they could frame something. But I wasn't really finding anything great. Then all of a sudden, I'm about to turn around. I'm like, alright, I'm wearing sandals out here. This isn't fun. I should just go ahead and go back home. And I was like, you know what, Alex, just go a little bit further, and it'll probably maybe pay off. And it did, because I found that stump, and it was perfect. So, if you couldn't tell already, this creature that I made is a mixture between a dog and a frog and something else. So like I said before with the worm one, it had a puff of fur on its chest. You might notice this one also has a puff of fur on its chest. You're like, okay, well, it's a dog. That makes sense, idiot. Not with a worm. Yeah, I know, but like, most dogs don't have a giant puff of fur on their chest, okay? Look, here's my reasoning, alright? When I first started doing these drawings, I was going to try to make them all part moth, because I had this creature I made up a while ago that was like cat, moth, mole, bird, alligator, all mixed together to make a little creature that had that puff of fur on its chest. And my original idea was that I was going to give them all that little puff of fur and maybe some other moth features, make them all part moth. Then have all three of them be like a little team, and they all had like scarves or something, and it would have been super cute. But then I got lazy, so I didn't do that. So yeah, I think that this dog turned out pretty good. Actually pretty great. He's my second favorite one. The worm was definitely my least favorite. Oh crap! Forgot to mention, I did shell shading with this one. That was my experiment with this one. I did shell shading. Okay. Bye. You know what, I take it back about the stump thing. The picture I took for this one is probably my favorite, because I saw this little branch just chilling, and I was like, I could take a pretty good picture of that. And then I took it from like a top-down view and it looked like Garbaggio. So I was like, what if I take it from the side? I was like, oh my, I looked at the picture when I got back home and I was like, oh my gosh, that actually looks really good. So I take it back, this is my favorite of the pictures. And also my favorite of the drawings. Mainly just because I've had this creature for like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the creature that I was mentioning earlier. I did make a few changes to it. It used to have wings and it was kind of orangish, but I already made the worm kind of orangish, so I made it more red so that I'd have some variation with the 3 different creatures. But yeah, I made this creature up like 2 years ago, I think, and I've like drawn it a few other times over the years. But I remember when I first made it, I was actually just sitting in like human geography class, and I was just bored as heck, not listening at all. Like, he gave us those notes that you just like fill in the blanks, so like I hate those notes. Like, I love them and I hate them at the same time because they're easy, but like you don't learn anything with them. But yeah, I just scribbled them down in one of those and I was like, wow, that's a cool design, Alex. I'm proud of you for that one. So I kept the design. I gave it a story like a year later, and then I realized it was a terrible story now. So I'm just gonna trash that and say it's a random little creature in the woods, and that's all there is to it. Maybe I'll explain the story another day if I draw it again, but for now, I'm just gonna tell you that it was bad. Well, anyways, catch you on the flip-flop Kit Kat. See you later.